Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ABL Worlds for Group D. We have 3 games for you tonight. 2 of them are Team Fish Tacos taking on the US Army, and then our final match at 10 p.m. is Rise eSports taking on Schism eSports. I'm your play-by-play caster, Milky Cyril, and joining me in the casting booth is Swift.
Hello, it is I, Swift. I will be the color caster for these games tonight. We're expecting 3 games. So, as he mentioned before, 2 of them are going to be Team Fish Taco versus US Army Esports. Speaking of which, we are getting right into the draft of said first game.
Yeah, and straight away the priority getting put on those ADCs. I don't think the new patch has hit where Riot have essentially said, hey, ADCs, you know how there are only 3 good ADCs? We're going to nerf all of them.
Yeah, so it's going to be coming in soon next patch, but for a good reason. Xayah, Kai'Sa, and Ashe as well are probably the 3 best ADCs that you could pick in the meta right now, so a lot of priorities being put onto them, especially with these early bans. You'd even see Xayah first picks or Kai'Sa first picks coming out from a lot of teams, which is completely viable at this point.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa is still open, and that can be pairing up with the Nautilus. However, the Camille and the Orianna will be our next 2 bans. We could still be seeing stuff like the Renekton and the Kled towards that top side.
Yeah, Renekton, especially if you ban out Quinn, if there isn't particularly a Quinn to go against, you could definitely first pick Renekton or at least pick him relatively early. There's very few matchups that would do well into Renekton, and as we see the Nautilus ban coming out, already denying that combo between Kai'Sa and Nautilus, which is just absolutely disgusting at level 6.
Also, Swift, I've discovered something interesting. You know how all the pros, well, pro casters and others alike, all talk about how in one region, you know, certain champs are favored to over other regions. I've noticed something between NA and EU. Apparently in EU, people seem to hate Renekton. Like, picking Renekton first pick, they're like, oh my god, why would you pick Renekton first pick? But every time I'm over in NA doing casts, we're like, yeah, Renekton. And yeah.
It's like, screw it. Like, I don't know why, but I think it's just a lot of people and they just love playing something aggro early, because then if you lose lane, people just start to tilt easier. At least that's how I think of it, because with my experience of previously playing top lane a bunch, like, losing top lane by yourself, especially in a solo queue game, you can't really get much out of it. So, probably same applies.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe I'll have to consider myself as an NA man. The Gate Morgana is going to be coming through. The Jarvan has already been picked up, and we could be getting something along the lines of an Echo as well, as that is still open.
Yeah, the Kate Morgana is just one of the oldest bread and butter duo bot lanes, even in this meta right now where Xayah and Kai'Sa, like, paired with like a Nautilus or a Rakan, are prominent. This bot lane never ceases to at least provide a lot of damage and a lot of threat early game, especially in this bot lane. So that's pretty solid pickup, especially on red side. A lot of pressure can be applied this way. And J4 Galio locked in. Now this combo is, if you don't have much mobility, is very difficult to play around.
The chicken coop with the kamikaze chicken. The Karma is still open, which could be the counter to this Morgana. Or if Team Fish Tacos consider them to be Koreans, they can pick the Tahm Kench to go with the Varus.
True. Tahm Kench with Varus, definitely something you would prefer. If you want Varus to go somewhere more of an on-hit build, just start pumping on a bunch of damage and not have to worry about that stray Morgana binding that lands every like 5 minutes or something in lane. Because that's typically what this Kate Morgana bot lane is going to be looking for. Any stray binding or trap that Varus lands on just needs to be negated, because there's just way too much damage after that follow-up.
And the Gragas to come through for US Army as well. This is a nice pick comp for them, and strangely though, they are the ones banning the Yasuo, which almost suggests to me that they think this Galio might be going support.
Quite possibly. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad option to ban it out if you don't want to, like I say, blind pick it mid. As you were saying, if this is a potential Galio in support role, not having a mid definitely be unexpected. But I'm just like a little like iffy about it, considering if you did want to go for that combo, you do have the first pick coming out of this ban phase.
Yeah.
So definitely had some options there.
The top and the mid still available for US Army, whereas Team Fish Tacos will be looking for their top laner and either the mid laner or support, depending on where that Galio will be going, as a Tristana and Zoe are the final bans for the Tacos.
Yeah, coming into this next pick, I mean, Akali ran away even after countless nerfs. She's a really strong mid lane pick and does well in both mid lane and top lane, depending on the matchup. So definitely want to get that out of the way. And definitely a lot of flexibility with that. And Gnar, ooh.
The Skarner was hovered, and I find it kind of surprising that they didn't lock that one in and give themselves the blind pick Gnar to come through. We'll have to see how Team Fish Tacos will answer that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a ranged top laner, there are a few picks that would go well into it. Yasuo being one of them, so good proactive ban ahead of that time, not giving the potential option of going for it. And then Irelia taking off. Also another pick that you could flex mid lane and top lane, a bit harder to flex in the mid lane because of the nerf to her W way back when, where she can't block any magic damage, but not the worst pick that you could pick into a Gnar. Being able to jump on top of him is very beneficial, especially in this matchup.
Right, and the Aurelia and the Rise will be coming through. So it is indeed a Galio support. The question just now is, will it be Aurelia top or the Aurelia?
It's definitely something to look out for. We'll see after a couple of seconds of swapping around to see what their true intentions are. But it seems to be that they might go for the Rise mid into the Zed, which also Zed locked in. Not something you see every day. I'm anticipating to see whether the Zed pops off or just meanders throughout the game, hoping to get some picks. And I mean, without a Tom Kench on the enemy team, it might be a bit easier this time.
Okay, I'm really sorry about this right now, Swift. I looked down at my notes for a second, and then I looked up, and all of a sudden a Z popped up on my screen, and my brain is just not functioning right now.
It's just like, wait a minute, Zed's a champion since when? In competitive play?
And now I'm remembering, I was talking about Skarner when Gragas had already been picked up.
Yeah, I was saying here, I'm like, through like mental gymnastics, I'm like, okay, so like what? They put AP Gragas mid, and then they put the Scar in the jungle. Then what if?
Oh, right. So, I'm very hyped about this US Army lineup because I kind of see a 4-1 split push. Gnar in the side lane can TP during a fight, but otherwise this is a really nice pick composition, and when you look towards the side of Team Fish Tacos, you have a Rise, you have a Varus that you can dive on with Alacrity Z. But then again, there is a lot of peel with that Galio Taunt and of course the J4 Cataclysm.
Yeah, the J4 Cataclysm with the Galio like ultimate combo is definitely going to be something to look out for. I mean, they do have a Black Shield that isn't going to be enough safety to get multiple people caught into this. And looking at the summoner spells, while we still have the time for it, Varus does in fact have Cleanse, and Galio took Heal, so they're obviously not going to try to just straight up outdamage this Kate Morgana bot lane, but even then, in team fights, it's already going to be that much more difficult to lock down the Varus and stop him from just straight up pumping out damage as the fight progresses, so it's going to be a lot easier for Team Fish Tacos to kind of focus more on the engage and just straight out pumping out damage than having to like constantly, I guess, protect this Varus on his own.
Yeah, and I do like, though, the TFT comp, because while I think I enjoy the US Army comp, but I don't think it's going to work, just because I don't think pick comps, personally anyway, are as good as these team fight comps. And, you know, if this Rise starts to get online along with the Aurelia, the team fights are just going to be so darn big for TFT that I think that they're just going to run away with this. So as long as they can kind of make it out of the laning phase relatively unscathed, I think it should be a good match for them.
I agree with you on that. I mean, you have the Irelia and the Rise. Irelia definitely scales up and gets incredibly tanky the later the game goes on, and we already know Rise. He's been picked a lot in Worlds recently, where you can just once you get to like 2 or 3 items, you just become a monster in a side lane, and you're not gonna be wanting to like optimize like any sort of MR early because technically Rise is like the only AP threat unless Gallia wants to go some sort of AP damage when he goes support. But that just definitely makes it a lot harder to kind of match up with him in a side lane if you're playing Gnar, or if you actually want to take a full-on scale team fight, which TFT are built for at this point.
Well, there's a lot to watch out for. TFT currently sitting 2-0 in the standings. US Army 1 win, 1 loss. Get those bets in. We're going to be heading into a short break, but we'll be right back with the first game of the day. Good evening, ladies and gents. It's been a long time, almost an entire minute since we were just talking to you. If you haven't already, do hit us up with a juicy follow and subscription over on Twitch, which, I mean, has to be where you're watching from. Of course, all of the proceeds from that go towards production so we can make everything even nicer, let's say, for you, and we can feel a bit better about ourselves as well. Also, we'll be letting you know how the bets have gone, as actually Looks like Team Fish Taco's playing a little bit aggressive, going to drop down a ward. US Army might be looking to turn this around. There's a couple of pokes coming through onto Rourke here.
Yeah, it seems as though they wanted to get a bit of vision early, spot out where Valencia was going to start, and both teams respectively got vision around the red side of the jungle. You have Team Fish Taco spotting out the red, while you have US Army putting down a standard Raptor ward, spotting where he goes to and from if he decides to full clear his bot side or go blue once he gets his red or Raptors out of the way.
Yeah, and there is a ward on that red buff, as we mentioned. However, US Army have got a ward of their own at the Raptor camp, so both sides will get vision of the enemy jungler and know what party is being taken.
Yeah, it seems both teams starting out the red. Pretty standing clear. Red side clear, going for 3 camps or potentially a red buff gank. Pretty optimal, at least by a lot of junglers. And it seems as though once he spotted out that he started at red buff, you have J4 going into the jungle invading his blue. So we'll see how Valencia responds to that as the game goes on.
Ooh, Dark Binding will miss his mark, just his punch forward. We'll get a knock up onto Rito, but Zinthus, still level 1, doesn't really want to go for a 2v2 trade against a Caitlyn.
Yeah, keeping the trade short and sweet this early on is definitely what you want to go for. If you're the Varus Galio combo right now in the bot lane. Potential gank coming in as well. Ooh!
Oh, the flash knocker, flag and dragon! And there is a nowhere for Rito to go. Burns a flash as well, first blood going over to Rourke.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid follow-up. They weren't expecting the J4 to already be in the river at this point this early. I mean, he just did his red and took Valencia's blue and just came straight in for the gank. And level 2, you don't even have Black Shield for it, so literally nothing else Rito could have done.
Whereas we'll go and take a look at the replay.
Yeah, as we see here. Flash knockup comes in from the Galio on top of the flash follow-up coming in for the flag and drag from J4. Pretty standard kill, not much else they could really do about it.
Yeah, and it's good to see a little bit of love being put towards this Varus in the bot lane. You know, when we were looking at the draft, I mean, we didn't discuss where we expected the junglers to be, but I think we would have thought bot lane might have been a bit safe for the Caitlyn Morgana.
I mean, yeah, typically if you're playing Kate Morgana, you're going to be shoving in. You're going to have the enemy team under their tower. But this is sort of the opposite. They're kind of getting shoved in, having the jungle gank this early on, not even before you have Black Shield. So definitely a lot more different than what we'd probably expect. And
as the Living Shadow to safety from Alacrity in the mid lane.
Yeah, pretty decent pick as far as trying to escape ganks. If you don't stay like perma aggro as Zed, just using W over and over to get poke damage out into this Rise, which this early on you don't really have that much damage to work off of. You're not gonna benefit off of spamming it like once it's off cooldown all the time. Just be a bit safer to keep it in the case of any J4 yanks.
Yeah, and obviously that will feel really nice if you are probably not fed, because it means that you can't really get dived as hard as Alacrity would like to. And you know, it's always that feeling, oh, if I use my Living Shadow aggressively, and even if I get the damage off, that's the exact second that the J4 is going to turn up.
And as we see here, a 4-man gank possibly bought.
Here we go, just his punch away, and the Dark Binding will not be able to find its mark, and that's just a little bit of time. A fair amount of time being used up by US Army. However, here comes Rourke, and he's not looking to waste any time. The Flash Mega Gnar away from Durus as he converts at pretty good time.
Yeah, Rourke out here on all sides of the map, just getting flashes blown pretty much at every stage. Not except for mid lane, because Living Shadow is an ability, but other than that, he's been putting a lot of pressure on both the top and the bot side of the map this game.
Alacrity is taking a fair bit of damage from probably not fed, and I mean, Zeds are never great that early on until they do get to that level 6 mark where they have that all-in potential.
And you see Valencia trying to get something done bot lane as well. He did back early to get his Predator boots, but to no avail. He hasn't been able to get any particular gank off, and Durus canceling Rourke's back, making it a bit more annoying.
He finds the boomerang as Rook was sitting on a rather well-placed ward. And going back to this jungling matchup, I do feel like Valencia is just going to be a little bit less effective than Rook, at least in the earlier stages of the game before he does have that ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Rourke right now, he has the advantage. He's up on CS and like for him.
Oh, Vanguard's Edge gonna come through in the top lane. Darius is not level 6 and he is not close to Mega Gnar either. Will win is burning Darius down, but he can't get off a final blade surge. No ignite for the top laner, and it will just be the flash being burnt by Wilwin.
That was really close from Wilwin. He was trying to queue over to the backline caster minion, which was already chunked.
Oh, Rook's gonna get spotted out. The body slam will come through. Flag and drag onto Valencia. But the blasting cone will take Valencia over, while Rook will just have to stand and watch.
Yeah. So far it's like, as I was saying before, I mean, Will win when we saw for that all-in trade. He sadly queued up to like a caster minion that had already been damaged.
Oh, the flash body slam coming in. Look at the damage following. Built over Peacemaker. Will not find enough damage, but there is the death mark. Alacrity takes the kill. Thank you very much, he says. However, here's a Galio. The Taunt will be able to find his mark. Justice punch in! And there is the Overlord. Zinthus takes the kill with the Q. Now looking towards Valencia as the Overlords and overloads. And the Spell Flux come flooding through as a Living Shadow Q almost. Oh, here we go. Follows in the Living Shadow. Justice punch in. So much damage, but it's not quite enough as Alacrity will find the kill onto the rise. As the Dark Binding will just about miss his mark as Wilwin has made his way down, but will not be able to engage.
Lots of fighting coming out here as of recently. I mean, Alacrity picking up 2 kills for himself with the first ulti. As we saw down here in the Raptor camp, W's out of the wall, gets the ulti, makes it back to safety. It's 1 kill for him, but then we see Galio with the follow-up, getting the Justice Punch in, and then just taking out. That's OP.
Oh, we have to go back to live though, because Darius... Oh no, he will survive.
He'll survive.
He got close.
It got very close, but yeah, just a bit of overextension coming out here from Rise, and then Wing back to the Living Shadow, showing a lot of awareness coming out from Alacrity right there and capitalizing on what he can get at this point in the game. And I'd say coming back with the Serrated Dirk and Caulfield is definitely where you want to be if you're a Zed this early.
Also, let's go back to this bot lane because Zinthus on the Varus, higher CS than It's Me That's OP, and he has the kill as well. So this Varus Galio lane going pretty well so far.
Yeah, definitely where you want to be. Varus is going to be just pumping out a ridiculous amount of damage the later the game goes in these team fights. And having this bot lane priority is opening up the opportunity to take this Ocean Drake incredibly early. With the score, with the kill line relatively even, just having this bot prio definitely helps out. And if you're playing like a team fight comp with a Rise,
ooh, the CC's going to be able to find his mark. He can't get out to the Living Shadow. Deathmark will come through, but all it does is waste an ultimate and a flash. Though, as it's the afternoon, did flash to safety just to prevent any further damage from Alacrity.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you gotta take the flash, hope for the best. Ooh.
Oh, the wallop. And that is a big boulder coming in as Flawless Duet will not be able to land. Vanguard's Edge is available for Will Win, and Darius does no longer has the Gnar ultimate.
But yeah, as we saw, ooh.
Here we go, Vanguard's Edge. Oh, that is a good Flawless Duet, and it really was flawless from Will Win.
Yeah, at least this time he learned from his mistakes earlier on.
Oh,
flash flung. As I was saying, earlier on in the first time he tried to all-in Darius in the top lane, he just barely missed out the minion reset on his Q, and that's where he wasn't able to get the second blade surge off, and that would have surely killed Darius in that early fight. But now, landing the flawless duet, having the Q resets, just makes it that much easier to jump on top of him and kill him at this point, because this is the point in the game where Gnar, especially in mini form, is not tanky by any means.
As The Rift is getting started up by US Army. I don't think there will be any contestation here. The gold actually is a surprising almost 2.5k in the favor of Team Fish Tacos, who are showing why they are currently undefeated in Group D. However, Rook is on the bot side of the map and could be looking for a gank. Will get spotted out by a ward, but I'm sure I'll just move over to this country.
Yeah, in the meantime, the enemy bot lane banks, it's OP, just taking what he can get, and nice flawless to it coming out from Olin. But just looking over at the Varus, we're 11 minutes in, and he's already finished an Essence Reaver. Now, I have not seen Varus that often as of recently, but wait, hold up a second.
Deathmark coming through in the jungle. Is it enough damage? Oh, here comes the Galio and the Shadow. Oh, that is a fair bit of damage with the Q, but not quite enough. So the stopwatch was burnt from Rook there.
Yeah, Rook deciding to opt in for the Cinder Hulk buy. He does have Challenging Smite, so it's going to be providing a bit more damage than Chilling Smite would, but that's definitely not going to be enough to, I'd say, finish someone by himself, kind of having to rely on somebody else.
I don't think it's me meant to 90 caliber net that way.
Yeah, it's like, typically not, but I mean, everyone has a few mechanical mislips, and speaking of which...
Oh no, there's the ult. So much damage coming through the Soul Shackles. Might buy a bit of time. Flash forward with the stopwatch. As Ace in the hole gets tanked by Zinthus, and he just runs down Rito as the final auto attack does the damage. And the cleanse, I don't know what that quite did, as Rook will pick up the other kill, and that is... Oh! The flash from Valencia has probably not fed, cancelled the body slam.
Oh!
Rook cleans it up with a third kill for Team Fish Tacos.
I mean, typically you don't want the kills going onto the tank, but I mean, yeah, at least have Challenging Smite on Rook right there, and that's definitely going to be putting in dividends, having this much of a gold lead this early. Speaking of which...
Oh no, Vanguard's edge in! Darius will get taken down! The turret shot isn't enough! Oh! Flawless as the Defiant Dance just came through too early, and he ended up taking one more turret shot. If he had just run out, he would have actually survived there most likely, as it's the afternoon! And another one! Oh no, it's not, okay.
Okay, so they get the first turret, but at the cost of 2 executes. I mean, at least no one else has the gold right now. Still kind of pocketed, so...
I thought Darius actually picked up the kill on Will Win, but it wasn't execute. Didn't have a chance to get off any damage.
Yeah, he was just too busy running away, and the damage just came out.
Oh, here we go. The dive onto probably not fed potentially as the Razor Shook can find some damage. Oh, that's a good sidestep onto the body slam, and Will Win is here. Could look to turn this around. Will Win can't get to the eye in time, and Shelly will get at least one charge off onto the turret.
Yeah, they were able to pick up a few plates. Speaking of which...
Deathmark coming through onto Will Win. Sidestep to Razor Shuriken, and the Morgana Q. That's probably not fed. Will get slowed up by the Gragas Husk, and 90 caliber Nair's not enough to buy enough a distance. And it's me, that's OP. He is not quite OP today, as he will fall for the 3rd time.
Yeah, once that 90 caliber net gets taken out of your kit, J4 just has a free shot of getting you in that Cataclysm with nowhere else to go. And just being behind right now, being down 3 kills and down nearly, I'd say, like 10 CS, 15 CS or so onto this Varus, it's not looking that good if you're It's Me That's OP. Speaking of which, Varus, I was trying to point out earlier before the tower was taken, he was sitting on an Essence Reaver, which I typically don't see that often. More often I'd see like sort of a Bork build if he's going lethal tempo or...
Oh, as the Nara ultimate will come through the hyper away, but he still gets hit by the taunt. Flawless QA will find his mark. That's a good explosive cast to push Will Win, and it's the afternoon away. And apparently the votes have closed, and you've all been following my example, betting for TFT. 100% of the votes going that way.
I mean, as the game's going right now, it seems as though that Zinthus is going to be putting in a lot of work, same with Will Win and Rourke. So, at least right now, having about 6k gold lead at the 15-minute mark, I'd say you're sitting quite pretty as the game progresses.
So, last time I checked, here, Swift. When you go Varus, you know, you go on hit, Blade of the Ruin King, Runan's Hurricane, but Zinthus opting for the Essence Reaper first and looking to potentially go for the Infinity Edge as a second item.
I mean, the way I see it is that having that extra mana, and having that CDR coming out from Essence Reaver, he's trying to benefit off of being able to use his ulti more frequently to like have more CC up more consistently, and or just being able to have that more of like flat damage on his auto attacks and let the lethal tempo carry the attack speed buff that he needs, rather than just the flat attack speed that you would get from items such as Bork or such as Guinsoo's right now. So I'm guessing he's just get that damage out in that small frame of time, because they do have the engage and the setup to just pick someone off and then back off after the fact.
Yeah. Also, Rook has picked up a Gargoyle Stoneplate as well, so really looking to front live to dive in and just soak up all that damage as we did discuss in the drafting phase.
Yeah, he's going to be the primary engage of this fight. A lot of the engage is going to be dependent on Will Win and Rourke finding key spots of being able to hit multiple people. Speaking of which,
Flag and Dragon, Rook are looking to go, and this is what we talked about. Soul Shackles will come do the taunt, so much damage. Explosive Cost will be able to find his mark. It's a flawless duet. Will Win steps onto a trap and will take a little bit of poke damage, but not quite enough. As Team Fish Tacos will find the pick that they are looking for, just one, and they did burn 2 ultimates for it, as the Boomerang throw will find Rook. It's a lot of damage coming through from the overloads.
Ooh, the ulti coming out.
Flag and drag in from Rook, but the hyper away as the Q almost takes down Durus, who now transforms into Mega Knight.
Yeah, that flat damage coming out from that Q, that's where a lot of the ADs come in from, and I'm excited to see where else Zinthus takes this build and sees like some sort of more of just a flat damage build rather than having that standard on hit that we've seen so often. And right now, Will Win just sitting on Triforce this early with Tiamat. It's ridiculous. He's going to be a serious threat in team fights and in a side lane, so hoping for the best if you're the side of US Army eSports right now.
I also want to go back to that Zinthus build. I don't even think I've seen him use... Okay, I've seen him use a cleanse once, and it wasn't even needed. And he's just so far ahead, and I think that's probably one of the other reasons that you can just go for the Essence Reaver, because at the end of the day, going for the full crit is a more expensive build path than going for the on-hit.
Yeah, it's like over time, just going to start racking up a lot of these expensive items like Essence Reaver and potentially IE if that's what he ends to opt for this early. It's a lot of the gold, like over 3k gold on these items, and having this early kill advantage, like have CS advantage of 25 CS on the Caitlyn and having all these kills and assists, it just benefits him that much more, at least rewards him from going such a costly and I guess high damage output build.
And right now we're getting to that stage where it's starting to look a little bit dire for US Army. 10 kills to 2 and a 7.5k goal lead for Team Fish Tacos. We talked about in the drafting phase that they need to find picks, but all the picks have been found by Team Fish Tacos instead, and they have the team fight advantage as well, and it's so easy for them to quickly rotate with the hero's entrance. 2 TPs as well on Will Win and probably not Fed, who are also going to be great split pushing in the side lane.
Yeah, without a doubt. Having a split push threat such as Irelia and possibly the Rise, I mean, he's only died one time, but he's building sort of defensively, sitting on that Archangel staff and building up to more of a Ninja Tabi and armor-based build. Oh, speaking of which, this could be a possible catch here.
But who is caught with who? The corrupting change will come through. The stopwatch in alacrity will get taken now, probably not Fed. Gets burned down as a Vanguard's edge following the TP in, and US Army get deleted. It's the ace coming in for Team Fish Tacos. The triple kill for Zinthus, the double kill for Will Win. And we were just talking about how they can rotate quickly over, even if US Army can find a pick, and the taunt comes in from It's the Afternoon, and it's clean from Team Fish Tacos, as now they're on the Baron and there is no possible answer from US Army.
Yeah, it was so difficult. I mean, the fight seemed to, like, you could have some sort of engage coming in, maybe have Alacrity get onto the back line with his ultimate, which he was able to do. He did, in fact, chunk out Probably Not Fed and picked him off in the fight, but they just were not expecting the three-man taunt coming out.
We'll take a look at the replay.
Yeah, the replay, you see, you have Galio and you have Varus just sitting in there, and I'm thinking, okay, they might get caught out, but then, alright, they're falling back and no vision in this Pixel Brush, and the second they warded three-man taunt into the Varus ulti, just nothing you can do, and that Galio ulti just spreads out the fight, and the flash coming in from Irelia, getting that juicy three-man flank just makes it so much easier to pick off the rest of this fight for Team Fish Taco, and that just swept up the fight easily.
That triple kill, along with all the gold that Xynthus had been getting from farming, just mean that he just bought an IE straight up.
Yeah.
And because he already had that BF sword and the stopwatch there before. This is massive. Also, Probably Not Fed is going for an interesting build, which I have seen a couple of times. I think someone was saying is what Doinby goes for, which is that Righteous Glory.
Having that Righteous Glory on Rise is like a lot of people mentioned, or at least found out once they saw Doinby play a lot more often, is that Rise on its own, as he scales up and he gets mana, he does enough damage as it is, so you don't necessarily need to build full AP, or at least mostly AP, during a lot of these builds. And Righteous Glory, okay, it gives you armor, it gives you mana, it gives you defensive stats. What more else could you want if you're already going to be chunking out a majority of who's ever going to be trying to match you in a side lane?
Yeah, and of course that just works really well, itemizing. Oh, here we go, Deathmark will come through, the flash away, and back to the Living Shadow from Alacrity. But meanwhile in the bot lane, Probably Not Fed, looking for this inner turret, and there is no difference for US Army. But, oh, meanwhile, Xynthus just pushing in, he has a cleanse available. Will he cleanse? No, he doesn't want to. He's not scared to flag and drag in. And a flash, but oh my god, so much damage from the piercing arrow as Will Win trying to turn it around, but he just gets taken down too low. The Razor Shuriken finding so much damage, flash away. Cataclysm 5-3, are you kidding me? And the hero's entrance to come through on top. It gets cancelled, but that does not matter. 2 more kills for Team Fish Taco. Flagging back the flash away, flash it forward from Rook. He will take down his me, that's OP. And the ace will be completed. 2 aces in 1 game. TFT are on the base of US Army. They're looking for the first inhibitor of the game. I don't know if they're going to go for an end. They're looking for it. Probably Not Fed does have a TP, so he could come back in. Second inhibitor turret will get picked up. And Team Fish Tackers will probably just find this final inhib and look to reset.
I mean, so far so good. You're sitting on such a monstrous gold lead, 15k at this point. I'm just waiting to see what Xynthus comes off on this back, because you already saw how much damage that piercing arrow did, and he just straight up buys a GA on top of another stopwatch. Oh, so I mean, he's just not dying. Alacrity's probably crying, just because he doesn't really have that many targets now to ulti realistically. Probably the only one is Irelia, but she hasn't so much movement. We already saw Rourke just straight up face tanked all of his damage because of, he has Stone Plate, he has Cinder Hulk, he just backed and bought a Warmogs. I don't know what you're going to do with that. And then, I mean, Probably Not Fed just finished.
He's not taking enough damage for him to regen anything up anyway.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we just don't need the passive, we just need the HP from it. And then lastly, Probably Not Fed, he just finished Righteous Glory. He's gotten into tabbies. You're not going to cut through that easily, not let alone the phase rush. Probably not going to be able to land anything. So, really difficult for Alacrity as the game goes on. And this combo.
Flag and drag, Cataclysm onto Valencia. The Realm Warp is coming in. Rise looking to join the fight. Valencia, good by Xynthus. Pierces through his HP and armor. Says thank you for the kill. Now 9-0 on the Varus. He is absolutely massive.
I mean, the pick definitely coming out.
It does no damage to Rook.
Yeah.
He takes nothing.
He's just like, alright, so, I mean, I have,
The Gnar will find one into the wall. The taunt coming at Vanguard said, this is huge. Will Win just destroying the lineup of US Army. They find 2 kills as Valencia was already dead. And TFT will look towards the base. The flashboard steps onto a trap. But that's barely no damage, and the stopwatch from Zinthus. He has the GA as well. He finds another kill, and the Nexus will fall. It's a perfect game. It's a perfect game from Zinthus, and it's a practically perfect game from Team Fish Tacos as they pick up their first win of the evening.
Yeah, pretty solid showing coming out from Team Fish Taco. I mean, they had the advantage from level 1. I mean, level 1 in terms of U.S. Army, and when the gank bot lane, got the kill going on to J4 there, and he was just able to apply so much pressure around the map as the game progressed. And then you just saw how Zinthus just slowly started racking up kills throughout a lot of these team fights, and that setup from that J4 Galio on top of the Varus ulti, there's just not much you can do around that when you don't have a team fighting comp as opposed to sort of more of a pig comp like you have with a Kate Morgana. So
the chicken coop strategy did work out quite nicely for Team Fish Tacos. We're going to go for an interview here, Swift. Who would you like to give MVP to?
I'd say if we're gonna give MVP, I mean, Zinthus did incredibly well. I think he'd probably be worthy of an interview. Same thing with Rourke. I don't know if you want to choose between either of the two. I'd say these are two perfect candidates for it.
I think we can give it to Zinthus. He had a fantastic game in what is a losing matchup. So let's have a quick interview with our ADC. Hello, Zinthus. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We decided to give you MVP after a perfect game on the Varus. Swift, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so far, I guess the first question I have, what was the thought process behind the whole Essence rebuild? Because I, at least personally, don't see that much Varus in solo queue. I don't see it picked that very often, so I'm kind of curious what was the thought process behind that sort of double crit build that I'd say you'd probably see more often on a Xayah more opposed to a Varus.
Yeah, I play a lot of Varus. He's my favorite champ. And, you know, I just went with the cookie cutter build for the longest time. I just played the... I just couldn't kill anyone, because I'm used to, you know, this was when, like, Varus was released. You go the Legolas build with the stack and BT and the Last Whisper. I liked it when my Qs hurt. So eventually I said to myself, you know, why don't I just build items that make my Qs hurt? And I'm not a big fan of like the lethality build. Attack, I like the dodge stuff. So BF swords were my item of choice. So I just built all the BF sword items I could.
Yeah, you were sitting on a bunch of BF swords as the game progressed, and needless to say, the damage definitely came through. I'll definitely be looking out for it because, at least for me, my positioning sucks. So Bork Varus is already like, man, I don't even want to touch this champ, dude. I'm having to walk up in front of everyone, and I'm barely doing damage until the fight goes like past 4 seconds or something. So
yeah, I was tired of assassins killing me, so I just killed him instead.
Yeah, he said, why not? Let's just be double share. Let's buy the GA and then get another stopwatch on top of that.
Yeah. If they can't kill me, I'm going to kill. Guaranteed.
The 200 IQ thought process. Guess another question I have, unless you want to ask one.
No, you go first. You go first.
Okay, well, I guess, how was the early game thought process? Like, what were you guys like thinking about going for? Because I saw that J4 went for that early invade, and that bot lane gank, I think, kind of snowballed the rest of the game for you guys, just having that pressure in a lane where you would probably say Kate Morgana is typically oppressive as the lane goes on. So
yeah, we try to be as adaptive as possible. Like, we go in with a light plan of where we're starting, what the path is going to be, but it changes as the game changes. Noon took a good trade onto the Morg, and we got a little damage on her. Now she's half health, and that's literally when we said, let's do this level 2. And he came down, we executed, and snowballs from there. So, I mean, it's important to have a plan, but it's important to change that plan too.
Very, very true. Keep an open mindset, especially when backs are potentially against the wall, but for a lot of this game, didn't seem like that was too much of an issue.
Yeah, not so much.
All right, Milky, anything else you gotta ask? Or if you want to ask?
Two things. First of all, any shout outs in this?
Any shout outs? My boy Golden Toast is trying to win that mystery points. Like before my game last week, we're in like champ select, and he types !TFT bet all to put pressure on me. So
Okay.
if he's watching, trying to climb those points, I'd shout him out.
Everyone did bet on TFT, so
Okay.
I don't think anyone gains any points as a result.
Damn.
Also, I want to ask, you guys are playing against US Army in, well, 10 minutes time. Feeling confident?
Feeling pretty confident. Yep. We are the more we practice, the more cohesive we feel, and we're like strong laners, strong players. So when we have more and more team play that connects us, we become more and more unbeatable. At least in our group, and hopefully going forward after that.
Well, I'm sure you do have to do a little bit of prep with your team for that game, so I'll let you go, and maybe we'll see you again after game 2.
All right, sounds good. I'll try my best.
Right, so you just heard from our MVP of the first game of the day, the AD carry from Team Fish Tacos, Zinthus. We're going to be heading into a short break, but we'll be right back with the second game of the day, which will be Team Fish Tacos versus US Army round 2. Don't go anywhere, guys. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second game of the day. We're still in Group D of ABL Worlds, but we are no longer inside a draft here, Swift. As it looked like for a second we were about to get into picks and bans, but alas, we have been delayed ever so slightly.
The slight delay coming out, but that's neither here nor there. He's definitely got more than enough time to get into the next game, seeing as it is the second game between Team Fish Tacos and US Army eSports. After the first game, Team Fish Tacos took a commanding lead early and they just snowballed it and closed out the game in pretty convincing fashion. So,
Yeah.
just more than enough time. Even if we have to wait another minute or so, I don't think it'll kill any of us here.
What was it? Zinthus 10-0 on the Varus or something ridiculous. I like to see him maybe on a more early game ADC, see what he can do on that.
A more early game ADC. Let's
Yeah.
see. We'll throw him on the Draven or something. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, I think I would just melt from excitement, if that's even possible.
I've seen it before. Remember when the good old Sona Taric bot lane combo was being popularized and people were like, okay, so either we just pick something that scales harder than Sona Taric, or we could just pick something like Draven Nautilus and just have kill pressure like at level 1.
Yeah, I did really like Draven Blitzcranks against Zona Taric. That was so much fun.
Oh yeah, especially with the buffs to Blitz now. Whew! Whew.
There is no place a Sona is safe anymore.
Not at all.
So
I
all of a
mean,
sudden,
might as well.
I get a few. I just got a couple of chills randomly in my room, so it's dressing gown cast time. For those of you who are joining us, as we mentioned, Team Fish Tacos did pick up the first win of the day against the US Army, and they now sit 3 wins and 0 losses as they reach what is essentially the halfway point of their Worlds Group stage. US Army are currently 1 win and 2 losses, and after this game, we do have, pardon me. We have Rise eSports, who are 1-1, taking on Schism eSports, who are 0-2. And that will be the final of the matches today.
Yeah, it should be the final matches of the day. Speaking of which, second match getting underway when it comes to the draft.
Yeah, and here we go. US Army eSports over on the blue side this time as Team Fish Tacos switch over to the red side. We'll have to see how many respect bans come through after a solid performance in game 1. The likes of the Rise, the Aurelia, J4, as well as that Varus and a Galio. How many of them will US Army ban away?
Well, they already take away the Nautilus. They took it away before, if I'm not mistaken, or at least this Nautilus was in fact banned in the previous game. J4, taken off by themselves, they probably don't want to give away a potential first pick of J4. But I'd assume that Valencia would have some experience on it, considering they played the J4 relatively well on the side of Team Fish Tacos the last game, so a bit of adaptive changes, I would say.
Okay, so currently it's Team Fish Tacos just banning away all of the champions that they picked in game 1. And US Army say, no, don't do that. We're going to ban the Galio away from you, as the final ban of the first phase is going to be the Kaiser. That side, though, is open. It did get banned away in game 1, as a Caitlyn will once again get picked up here for Alacrity. Wait, no. Alacrity was mid last game.
Yeah. And Wairito was ADC, so either they just didn't bother with swapping, or Wairito is just taking it by the horns and playing mid now. So we'll see as once we get through the draft.
Ezreal? No? Okay, we have an Ezreal.
Yeah, Ezreal locked in from the side of Team Fish Tacos. I mean, not the early game pick that you were hoping for, I would say, but definitely spikes around 2 items once he finishes that Mana Immune, stacks it up to Muramana, and then if you want to go Triforce or Iceborne.
Yeah,
as Pantheon picked up.
So it's US Army that are going for the early game, and Team Fish Tacos are going for the scaling with that Kindred in the jungle. That Pantheon can get flexed around. It could be in the jungle for Valencia, as you mentioned, or maybe even for Darius or Raito in the solo lanes.
Yeah, I mean, like once you have that Rise taken out, you have a little less of like solo lane picks coming out. Like you see the Swain. I mean, you could put him in a solo lane, but I've seen Swain a lot more often in a side lane, which is kind of, I don't know, like if you'd want the Swain over the Morgana, but I mean, to each their own. They did try this Caitlyn Morgana in the previous game. Maybe they don't want to opt for something of that nature.
Or maybe the Swain could be the flex pick, as the Alistair will be getting locked in. Well, the ultimate form of disengage in the bot lane. Probably just to stop that never move from coming in, or just to keep Darius away if said never move does land.
Yeah, the never move is definitely really strong to work with in the bot lane, especially early on. Swain has a deceptive amount of damage, and just having that passive to be able to pull back anyone in terms of like with that any sort of CC that lands. You do have the Caitlyn traps to assist with that on top of his never move as well. So there's definitely potential synergy in this bot lane. And then with the Ezreal Alistar, it's more so of like kind of sitting back and disengaging if need be. I mean, the Alistar, if he gets pulled in, he could definitely go for a combo if they want to turn a fight. And even then, you have Alistar with his ultimate taking away any possible CC. Definitely not something you'd be scoffing at once level 6 hits.
And the Karma does get banned away from US Army, so Team Fish Taco's not 100% certain that this Swain is necessarily going to be a support. The Gragas and the Yasuo bans coming through, as well as the Akali once again. And I just want to point out here, Swift, that that Kale is open.
That is very, very true. She's definitely a pick that would do decent if you could sustain through the first couple of levels into a Pantheon. It seems as though that they want to give the Irelia back over to Wilwyn yet again, which he did perform really well. So I'm not scoffing at the pick at all. Gonna see what see what US Army decide to pick into it. Last time it was the Nara, they blind picked it and got the Irelia picked into them. So let's see what do they pick into this.
Okay, the Syndra's going to come through. I just wish it was a Syndra Swain bot lane, but I've got my sensible Crocs on today, and it's going to be a Syndra in the mid lane. I was going to say sensible shoes, and I was like, nah, I'm wearing Crocs. I'm gonna be proud of it.
So he's gonna be loud and proud about wearing the Crocs on stream. You heard it here first. Milky wears Crocs.
Swift, may I just add, they are luminescent green Crocs as well. They are the pride. They are the pride of my room right now, as the Alawi will get locked up for Darius in the top lane, and the LeBlanc are being hovered for probably not fed.
But yeah, as we see here from the side of, oh, they are locking in the Scion. Now,
is this a mid Scion, or is it Irelia mid?
It could very well be Irelia mid. And like, Scion mid has been played before. We've seen, I believe Chovy played Scion mid, if not twice in Worlds before they were knocked out. So it's definitely not alien or completely unknown. But I guess their thought process is, okay, we can sit Scion in the mid lane potentially and just have them act as a brick wall where Syndra can't burst him down at all. And then Irelia is pretty much going to sit up there in the top lane with Alawi, which is definitely, I would say, more difficult to play around, considering Alawi just needs to hit level 6, and then if Irelia tries to engage, it becomes a lot more difficult to play around because of all the healing. But to each their own.
I know there was that period, 3-4 months ago, after Inting Scion was a thing, where we were seeing a lot of Scion mid lane and lethality Scion as well. Do you reckon we're going to be seeing a lethality Scion here, or just plain old tank Scion?
I'd say tank Scion would probably be the best bet. It makes the lane a lot less volatile, and then now you have sort of a dedicated tank on the team as opposed to just a bruiser within this Irelia. Because Irelia into Alawi, it's already a volatile lane as it is, at least the way I see it. There isn't particularly any CC coming out from this Kindred if he goes for a gank, and Pantheon has a lot more early game pressure than Kindred does, at least he should. So having Silence's built tank and be able to sustain, like, keep himself alive throughout the early portions of the game and scale up, I think it'd probably be the best bet. Because in terms of AD, I mean, you have an all AD comp on the side of Team Fish Tacos if you take into account the Aurelia, the Kindred, and the Ezreal, not counting their small bits of AP damage coming out from, say, Ezreal E and Kindred W, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, and you have to feel that it is kind of weird though, isn't it? Because this is essentially a scaling team from the side of Team Fish Tacos, and it is mostly AD, except for, I believe, I'm not sure. Did you say Cyan does AP damage?
I think he does like a bit of mixed. I think like with his like he does build lethality, so like he can build lethality. So I assume like mostly it's gonna be AD damage, but it isn't that much in terms of AP. Kind of like those residual APs where like Riot just decides to throw an AP damaging ability or like an AP scaling ability like on an AD jam, so it's not completely busted. So
yeah. And actually, to be fair though, Zinthus, or I should say Ezreals in general, do pick up a Luden's Echo after they get the Triforce and Manamune. So there is a bit of AP for Zinthus, but I want to go to the general kind of team comp of US Army before we do head into break, and I feel like they've got some good disengage tools, namely the Syndra Scatter of the Week. But also they've got some really nice engages, and for these team fights that we saw Team Fish Tacos do so well in game 1, you have the Alawi, which can be so powerful with that ultimate.
yeah, definitely gonna have to be second guessing some of these engages that they go on to, and I'm definitely gonna be looking at Valencia and how he passes around this game and see if he can get Alacrity and or Rito snowballing as the game progresses, which Rito seems to be playing mid. Seems to be playing that Syndra mid.
And on that note, ladies and gents, we will head into a short break, and we'll be right back with game 2 of the day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for game 2 of the day. Team Fish Tacos, or I should say US Army, look to get revenge on Team Fish Tacos. We make our way onto the Rift. If you haven't already, do hit us up with a follow and a subscription on Twitch. All of the proceeds do go towards production so we can give you even better content here at ABL. And of course, if you haven't, feel free to join in with all the bets, as I believe 100% of them are currently for Team Fish Tacos. Maybe put a few in the way of US Army.
I mean, I'd say they have a shot, especially with this comp. I mean, you have the Syndra and Pantheon. This is going to be a pretty solid gank setup, especially in a 2v2 scenario. So, would be expecting, or at least hoping, that Wairito and Valencia pop off of this pick if you're side of US Army. And as we mentioned right before the break, Alacrity and Wairito did in fact swap positions in between games.
Yeah, and we were expecting Alacrity to be an ADC with a name like that. However, Alacrity hasn't quite been a legend. He went for Bloodline over Alacrity. I did check up those runes, so not staying faithful to his name. Also, I want to mention Swift as well. Probably not fed. He's gone for the common.
Yeah, I'm guessing he wants to have some sort of early pressure. He's not going to be benefiting off of Aftershock or Grasp of the Undying in a matchup like this. He's not going to be up and close to Wairito. So at the very least, be able to put out some sort of damage, like say once he gets his E off or once he gets W going.
I can just see every single time he tries to charge up his Q, the Syndra just says nope and pushes him backwards.
Yeah, be quite difficult to at least get some sort of poke going in this lane. And as you see there in E, I remember when Zion was extremely oppressive up in the top lane where, oh, speaking of oppressive,
Valencia's going to turn up straight away in the mid lane, dives onto probably not fed. The Dark Sphere of Will land, probably not fed, won't burn any sums, and he will just take a fair chunk of HP deficit.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's like when Sion was extremely oppressive up in the top lane, you see him take...
Never move onto a trap. Zintas takes a lot of damage, but Alacrity can't find enough for a kill. Zintas also has gone for the TP over the heal.
Yeah, he's going to be opting for more of a sit-in lane type of playstyle. Speaking of lane, Wairito putting in quite a bit of damage on the probably not bad.
Will take a turret shot. Yeah, as you mentioned, probably not fed, taking a lot of damage from the Force of Will Dark Sphere combo. And Wairito having a fairly fun time so far.
Ooh. But yeah, up in the top lane, it's like having the wave shoved in and taking tower shots constantly. It's just, I guess, very detrimental for Willwin right now, having to go in and out, trying to be able to put some damage on Adurus, because Alawi just heals up so much of the damage that she
the flash headbutt pulverize. It's me OP, forced to flash away, but the flash from Rook. First blood once again to the TFT jungler, who's having a very good series so far, but there comes a shield ball in the mid lane. That's probably not fed, able to get out of way of the Dark Sphere in time.
Yeah, the damage coming out from the Kindred, work already sort of similar to the last game. They're able to pick off the Swain. And so, as we look over here real quick on the replay, you see Swain, he just gets caught out, like he's not expecting the Kindred to be coming in from behind him. Bubble flash is blown from the side of TFT, but that secures the kill, and sort of similar beat as the previous game where Work just picks up a kill and they just make It's Me That OP just feel that much more down, I'd say.
And
support's getting picked off.
Yeah, and that brings me something else that I wanted to talk about as well, which was Rook going for the Conqueror over the press the attack, which I feel is what you see more commonly on Kindred.
Yeah, I mean, PTA over time, it's like you want to take it. Yeah, it's like a lot of damage coming out from Malawi. That one Test of Spirit just does so much damage early on, even without any items. Makes it a lot more difficult to trade into her until you get these items, and like even level 6 it nearly becomes impossible. But as we were talking about the Kindred, like PTA, you typically want to take it when you want to contest certain early game objectives, or you want to beat out that early duel, or like that early 1v1. But Rourke is kind of looking at this like, well, realistically, we're not going to beat an early game Pantheon in terms of damage, no matter how hard we try, especially with that E that he has. So opting for more of a scaling scaling rune.
Valencia in the bot lane steps forward, shield ball, but the arcane shift to safety. Look at the damage onto Valencia, who's knocked under turret range, and he will fall. Vision of Empire will not find any damage, and here comes the choo-choo train. Flash away from Alacrity, but it's me, that's OP, is into the firing line, and probably not fed, will be getting a kill. But he's probably not fed just yet, as in the top lane will win. Will take down Duris 4-0 to Team Fish Tacos.
I'd say it's just a matter of greed. Zenthal was a really good buffer on his E, making sure that he wasn't completely gipped by the stun, able to make it out in time.
Oh no, Wairito flashes out from the Q, but now he's getting chased down. Unleash power, and the turret shot seals the deal as Rook will get taken down.
Bit of a overestimation on how much damage Rook could take right there. Kind of bites him though. Fully empowered Pantheon Q doesn't even shred this man's W. That's something to fear. But yeah, as we're going to be looking over in the ball lane, you see that buffer coming out from Ezreal. That definitely helps him out, just not get caught out by the stun and the eventual snare. And just the Scion ulti coming in, that's just a lot of good map awareness coming out from Team Fish Tacos right now. And knowing that they don't have flash, or at least Swain doesn't, just picks up an easy kill for them. And then up in the top lane, just a 1v1. Once that Test of Spirit is missed, you realize that Alawi doesn't have HP.
Oh. Almost gets taken down as Rook looking aggressive, but will be forced to back out because Rito and Valencia are full HP.
Yeah, as I was saying, up in the top lane, Duris kind of stayed for a greedy buy. He didn't back it. Will Win was sitting on.
Oh no, Never Move is going to land onto Afternoon. And it's not Afternoon because it is a good night. Alacrity, surely, no, yeah, Alacrity will pick up the kill.
Yeah, I was about to say, we were all checking, like, wait, does he have flash? Is he actually making out of is he actually making out of this? But
yeah, all that was going through my head was like, oh, that was pretty clever, Milky. It's not Afternoon, it's good night, and then he just doesn't want to die at the right time, and it ruins the entire thing.
This just ruins it. No jokes today, he says.
No
but
jokes.
In the meantime, it seems like that Mountain Drake's gonna be taken.
Here we go. Unstoppable onslaught. Oh! As a true shot barrage whittles down Valencia. Good by Alacrity is next on the menu. Can't find anything onto Rook in time. Wairito and It's Me will be forced back, but the headbutt pulverize will land. Rito with nowhere to go. Lambs arrest by will keep Rook alive as the Vanguard's edge onto It's Me. The dive in with the Blade Surge. Goodbye. And the Blade Surge out to safety from Will Win. And I believe that was a 4 kills for nothing there. Team Fish Tacos proving their worth now with almost a 4k advantages. Not even 10 minutes in and picking up the turret plates in the mid lane.
Yeah, the game's stacking up at this point as it was before. I mean, there was a fight that was going on. They had to try to steal the Drake, and it was getting incredibly low. But once that True Shot Barrage hit too, there was no hope for the rest of US Army Esports to live that out. And props to Rook right there, saving the Lamb's Respite in specifically for the Syndra. And that Vanguard's Edge, just a nice rotation coming out from Whirlwind to secure another kill, because sadly, Sway just doesn't have flash, or at least didn't have flash when this fight happened. And he gets punished.
No. Never Move doesn't do anything, and Valencia will get taken down. It's Me will be able to get out of range of that trample auto attack, but it's still another kill for the Fish Tacos.
Yeah, I mean, at least this time he has flash, but they're just all over the map right now. Will win. He is sitting on a Tiamat and a longsword, and on this back he does pick up the Sheen, and he's nearly gotten the Phage. He's sitting at quite a big power spike right now, not considering Triforce, but looking to see how he transitions this gold lead into the side lane, because Alawi, even with a gold lead, she can be very punishing to play against if you don't play correctly, or at least optimally into her.
Yeah, and that's something that I was kind of tempted to talk about a little bit, that Ilawi short, it kind of works in solo queue a little bit, but there's a bit of poke coming through into probably not fed, but it won't be enough.
Misses again.
Vanguard Sedge is available, and Whirlwind is looking very aggressive. Needs that Blade Surge cooldown up, and it won't come up in time for him to want to fully commit. But going back to what I was saying, you know, the Alawi short, it works in solo queue, but I feel in kind of team play, it's much easier to coordinate around that ultimate, as Valencia going to get chased down, and out will come the shield. Valencia will be able to survive. Oh no. Here's the Vanguard Sedge. It finds both of them. Scatter of the Weak will keep Valencia alive though, and it will just be one kill going over to Team Fish Tacos.
Team Fish Tacos yet again just moving around the map and picking off a bunch of these kills onto the side of US Army. And right now, I mean, you have Rook, he's just going into the jungle, invading, taking all the camps he pleases, and right now Valencia on this early game Pantheon pick just not able to make anything work. We're 10 minutes in, well, technically 12, but about that point, and the Rift Herald's getting taken, as well as most of the plates are getting just chopped down to size.
Yeah, and at least in the last game, you know, the one thing that US Army did have going for them was that they did pick up the Rift Herald, and they bought themselves some time. This game, though, Team Fish Tacos are going to take everything.
Yeah, it's a lot minus the Mountain Dragon, but in return they were able to pick up 4 kills for that said Mountain Dragon. This game is similar to the first, and how Team Fish Tacos is just rolling with the game, and the gold lead is mounting to pretty high numbers this early on.
I like that, mounting, because we were just talking about the mountain break. Clever.
You already know what it is, the wordplay coming in heavy.
However, I want to go back over to Rook, because he's been so big in game 1, you know, he almost picked up the MVP, but this game, on a Kindred, 3-1 and 3-12. Okay, 13 minutes in, and I'm just going to check how many stats he has. So Shelly will get summoned in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, right now the plates are available in that bot lane.
6 stacks on the Kindred.
6 stacks at 13 minutes.
Oh my god.
The extra passive bonus is kicked in for that auto attack range. He's got red buff, he's got blue buff, TP forced out.
Ooh. Oh, that is a good headbutt away though. And Afternoon will tank as much as he can, as that is a good dance of arrows. Now turning on to It's Me. That is going to be the ult in. Lamb's respite through. It's Me can't get inside the safety of the respite. Will get taken down. Durst will fall as well. Meanwhile, the choo-choo train Silent will tank it all right up into 4 kills for 1. Alacrity is running. Whirlwind has the flash, but will not go for the dive. The first turret of the game will go to Team Fish Tacos before the 14-minute mark. And they will now turn their attention to the Ocean Break.
Yeah, that was a really good turnaround coming out from Team Fish Tacos. They baited out US Army eSports into taking a fight in the bushes that they didn't have warded, forced them to overextend, and the TP came in from Whirlwind, and that was just a solid execute after the fact. We're just having work, being able to keep the Lambs respite away from everybody else on the team, using Flash to secure that. Pantheon, just after all of his CDs are down, just has nowhere else to go. And then, even then, Syndra, when she came over into the bot lane, that Scion Q at the very back end of the fight picked her off and led to the last kill. It's just really well executed from Team Fish Tacos.
So much damage onto that Alistair there.
I mean, there's nothing to scoff at. They definitely got quite a bit of damage. It's just Team Fish Tacos has so much more if they get the proper situation for it. 5-1 and 5 on this Kindred.
Oh no, Will win chasing down Alacrity. He's just standing still and smacking him, but he can't dash in because he steps onto a trap. And Alacrity shields himself with the Ural snap traps to find the outplay.
I mean, shout out to Alacrity. I mean, this was a 3-0 and 3 Irelia with a Triforce Tiamat at 15 minutes.
Oh, the engage on the turret is me. That's OP. Takes a lot of damage, and Zinthus just throws out the autos. Tusha Barrage picking up 1 kill. Doriso looking to find something. Or Durok will be able to find the kill. Actually, will almost find the second as it's the afternoon. Finds the CC, and the rest is done by Zinthus as Unstoppable Onslaught. Here comes the Q. Flash away from Marito. There are loads of spheres scattered around everywhere, but the Unleashed Power does barely anything to rather tanky Sion.
Yeah, as we saw, we were debating before whether what this Sion was going to go, and it seems to be he is definitely going for more of the tanky build. He has the Merc Treads just in case, as well as going some HP, so Syndra is not going to be doing that much to him, to say the least.
Alacrity might have stepped up a bit too far. Will get hit by the CC, and Afternoon will just back off and walk back into the river after his trusty companions pick up the kill.
Yeah, so far Zinthus putting in work, even though he started out sort of even, not much of a lead was gained, but once this game has been cracked open by the rest of Team Fistacos, he's been able to pick up kill after kill after kill, as well as the first, like similar to the first game, where he's now 7-0 and 8, finished up that Triforce at by 17 minutes.
And that's the sad thing for US Army. The Ezreal wasn't even at his strong point. Now the Ezreal is strong. And I'm kind of scared at what we might be seeing in the ensuing couple of minutes here.
Yeah, it's just, I can't wait to see how much damage comes out from this Ezreal right now. Nice footwork coming out from Merc, making sure he doesn't get picked off. Speaking of work, having that rapid fire that early and a stopwatch, so even if his ulti isn't optimally used, he's got another way out.
He has a, oh my dice. Okay.
Yeah, that rapid fire came in.
Choo Choo Train coming, who is a focus. Straight into the frying pan. You'll flash out, but here come the other members. Tusha Barrage has been thrown by Zinthus. Will it be able to find anyone? The TB coming in. Valencia getting poked down, gets hit by the flawless duet. And Zinthus has joined the fight after 2 members of US Army have already fallen. And Afternoon looking for a potential flank in, but won't be able to get the right positioning. Oh, will be able to find Darius, who's ignited, burning down as Wilwin looking to go in as the Mystic Shot's being thrown in under turret, dealing rather substantial amount of damages. TFT just look to keep on pushing, not even at the 20-minute mark, so the attackers can't even turn towards Baron.
Yeah, Baron's just not an option. They're just going to keep barreling down at this tower for right now. And we're going to see how this goes. They definitely have a bit of damage that they're able to put out, but there's just not enough mana. Speaking of mana, the Mura mana is in fact stacked up on Zinthus, and Zinthus playing aggressive, buying up Berserker's Greaves on top of that, which I do not see often on Ezreal. He says we need that damage now.
He wants to get those auto attacks off after his Q4, you know, those Sheen procs.
Yeah, it's like, who needs a delay? Who needs Ezreal passive when you have Berserker's Greaves? I mean,
who needs Boots of Lucidity? I'm interested though to see whether Zinthus is gonna go for what do you call it? The Blade of the Ruined King, or go for that Luden second.
I know previously they did in fact nerf the AP ratios on Ezreal's Q in a few number of his abilities, but still is an option that you can go. It's just not as effective.
Oh, they steal the Infernal Drake, but they will sacrifice their lives for doing so. Valencia falls as will Darius, and now it's me who's forced to flash out of the Decimating Smash, but you can run there. Can you hide? Rook turns up. Wilwin picks up the kill with the Blade Surges. Alacrity falls as well. Infernal Drake for kills, or 4 deaths, I should say. Not quite sure if it's worth Team Fish Tacos will punish US Army.
It was similar to the first dragon where they were able to take the mountain drag for them, but 4 kills going to the side of Team Fish Taco in return. Back, unable to be cancelled, and now just take a look. Seems like he's going the Bork build as well. Zinthus picking up a Van Scepter. Will win,
Go
finishing up the
Gunblade, go
Titanic.
Gunblade.
Or Gunblade. I speak too soon.
I really like the Gunblade build. I'm not a massive fan of Bork. It's a personal kind of grudge against the item. I don't know why. Oh god, Afternoon so aggressive on this Alistair. His team's nowhere near when he goes in, but he has full of faith that they will turn up, and now they're looking towards Darius, who gets burnt down so quickly with so much damage. Has that rapid fire cannon there. Now GA as well. 10 and 2 on the Kindred. Dare I look to see how many stacks he has?
Yeah. How does it look?
I don't want to. It's scary.
It's like it's like there aren't many things that I fear, but that one thing.
Yeah.
it's Kindred stacks.
It's a bit like the Vegas I've been seeing recently. So many Vegas have been played in amateur leagues, and they always seem to be popping off. And they just have. I just don't want to look how many stacks they have because it is disgusting.
If I recall correctly, the last time I casted with you, one of the games that was played was won by a split pushing Vagar that had over 1,000 AP because of his stacks.
I can't remember where, but I think that's the only time we've casted together, because I was thinking, oh, Hex Splash over the wall. Afternoon will knock OP away and turn to the rest of the fight. Valencia gets whittled down. Rug picking up the kill. Demonic Ascension won't do you anything, as another kill goes over to Team Fish Tacos. And why, Raito? Why are you going? You can run, but we know exactly where you are. Will win and probably not fed. Oh, true.
You know, just throw the true shot rods on top, and Duris attempts to delay the Baron, but to no avail, man.
Don't worry, it's fine, because, you know, while Zinthus has almost got his Blade of the Ruined King, Alacrity has almost got his first seal item. So it's all good. It's all good, folks.
I mean, it was better than how the last game Caitlyn was. Seems like they're going in for the force at this point. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Same how
this is really running it down.
Modern problems require modern solutions, okay, Milky? And sometimes you just have to run at the fat Irelia and hope for the best.
The very, very fat Irelia. Actually, no, not as fat as that Kindred and the Ezreal right now.
Yeah, not right now.
But, yeah, as you know, if they kept on chasing, I would have been thinking that's a little bit, you know, silver elo right there, you know. Just run after the person. Don't care about what's happening anywhere else. Oh no, another headbutt pulverized. Goodbye, Valencia. It's a me. Might be getting taken. Oh god, goodbye.
Never mind. Here it comes. It's like you think, okay, maybe he gets out alive, maybe a Kindred Q, but nope.
Was there ever any doubt as the dancing arrows comes through? True Shot Barrage. A little bit late. Why Raito? Well.
Comes out, but the ulti from Rourke just too strong, and he also has GA. There's no way that they're going to be able to kill him. 13, 2, and 11 on this Kindred, with Zinthus 9-0 and 14 on the Ezreal.
Let's see how much damage Ezreal does to the turret when he alters it. Okay.
He refuses to.
Oh no. Oh wow, the damage coming in the final fight, and where did US Army go? They were there and then they disappeared, a little bit like their base. The Nexus will get engaged upon, but Team Fish Taco, they want the final kills. A goodbye. Team Fish Tacos take their 4th win of groups and remain undefeated in ABL Worlds.
In before the game ends, 15, 12, and 14 Kindred. Confirmed 11 stacks at the end of the game in a 24-minute game.
11. Oh my god. I don't know how Kindred stacks works, but I know that's a lot.
Yeah, so typically, like, once you get 4, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't played Kindred in quite a while because I'm horrible jungler, but once you get 4 stacks, you start getting more attack speed and you get an increased range on based on the amount of stacks you get. And your stacks kind of change where they spawn depending on how many stacks you have. When you're in the early game, you have them spawn around Rift or maybe like a buff. And then once the game goes later, maybe on like a few different camps, Dragon as well. And then Baron, when they took it, it was spawned up there. And that's when you usually have like 8 or 9 stacks. But this man had 11 by that point in the game. So he's definitely feeling it, I would say.
So, if you take a look at the damage chart, Rook and Xynthus combined practically did the same amount of damage as the entire of US Army, which is a little bit disgusting. However, Swift.
Yeah.
Who do we want to give MVP to? I'm trying to think. Is it Rook this time? Because I feel like once again it comes down to those two.
I believe it is Rook this time. I mean, definitely pumped off a lot harder than he did in the previous game. I mean, last game he was playing J4, Cinder Hulk with challenging smite. You're not really going to pick up a bunch of kills on that. But when you're vastly out damaging an Ezreal, who's typically supposed to have the most damage in a game just because of his range, you've turned a scaling champ into a champ that spikes at like 15 minutes. So I think we kind of have to give it to Rook for this one.
Yeah. I was actually going to say that I don't think it's between Rook and Xynthus. So I think it's between Rook and It's the Afternoon. Because he was exceptional on the Alistair.
True, 1, 2, and 29.
Yeah.
We can't sleep on that at all.
That's true. Also, I believe Xynthus was going for a Bloodthirster at the end. He had picked up the BF sword. And I have to imagine that's what he was going for over a Blade of the Ruin King. Or I mean, he did say in the last interview, didn't he? He said, BF swords work really well on Varus, so maybe he's thinking the same thing for Ezreal. Just build loads of BF swords on the channel.
Yeah, might as well.
Alright, well, let's try to get Rook in for an interview. Hello, Rook, how you doing?
Hey guys, doing pretty well. It was some fun games.
I want to ask you, before we do get under interviews, how do I pronounce your name? Because I'm pretty sure I've been saying it wrong the entire time.
Yeah, you're close. It's Rourke, like New York, but with an R.
Gotcha. Rourke.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Right, do you want to take us away, Swift?
Alright. Well, guess going from game 1 to game 2, definitely swapping up the junglers quite a bit. I mean, you went from a tank J4 pretty much building HP throughout the rest of the game, and then now picking up a Kindred. And like I said, taking a scaling champion into a champ that scales at like 15 minutes. What was the kind of like thought process behind of like wanting to switch gameplay styles so quickly?
Well, we're pretty practiced on the Jarvan, and it's his most played solo queue champion, so we put pretty high priority on it with the first pick in game 1. And since we didn't have first pick on red side, we decided to just ban it away. And Kindred's my most played, so if they're going to leave it up, I'm going to want to play it. The Pantheon jungle, like, my read on it was it's basically like Xin Shao. You kind of just run around, and if you don't get kills early, you're going to be pretty sad. And we knew their laners didn't play it, so we weren't too scared of it. And then we just had tracked him pretty well in the early game. We knew he was looking for level 2 ganks, and he didn't really get any of them off. So at that point, it's pretty not that scary.
Yeah, I'd say trying to get ganks off onto an Ezreal Alistar would be pretty difficult, let alone a Scion mid. That's another pick where I was like, they just really don't want to give up anything here, right? And I'm guessing that was the thought process behind the Scion mid, just don't die, and then you guys were set.
Yeah, exactly. And also, a lot of our comps end up like with carry jungle, and also sometimes a carry top, and Fed is down to rock the Scion and give us a tanky boy, and I mean, he's been looking pretty strong on it. And when he goes these like semi-AD items, he kind of smacks people around too, so it's definitely a fun pick.
The occasional lethality Scion coming in heavy every once in a while.
Less so the lethality, more for the beef, but Maybe next time.
Possibly next time. Any questions you got, Milky?
Yeah, so I do want to ask. You guys are currently 4-0. I think you've got 2 games against Rise Esports coming up at some point. How confident are you feeling staying undefeated throughout groups?
We're definitely pretty confident. I mean, they dropped a game to U.S. Army, so we should be able to take them down. And I mean, our AD carry has not died a single time this entire group stage so far. So
Wait, really?
he's flawless and
Oh,
trying to keep it that way. So that's our goal, is to not only win but keep our AD carry with that flawless KDA.
That's one we definitely have to relay to the stats team. Also, any shout out?
I guess shout out to our coach Hydor, and that's about it. I guess TFT for being our org. We appreciate it.
I'm just gonna throw a shout out to Hey It's Afternoon, because man, that Alistair, come on, you gotta give it up to Alistair. Supports
Oh, yeah,
need
for
love
sure.
too.
Goes without
Like,
saying, that's the boy.
29 assists on an Alistair. I mean, come on, dude is insane.
Yeah, we were definitely styling a bit by the end there.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Rourke. Fantastic job for you and the team picking up the 2-0 today, and best of luck in the rest of group stages and the rest of world.
Thanks, guys.
All right, with that game, well, TFT they have almost secured their place into knockouts. However, I'll have to wait and get confirmation on that. We're going to be heading into a short break though, and we will be right back with the third and final game of the evening. Rise Esports taking on Schism.